what's actually happening in the client boardrooms now,
Yeah.
what's really the conversations taking place. And if you're an agency leader and you may be going in some procurement situations, or you may see in your pipeline these are going to happen, what do you need to start thinking about? How do you need to get ahead of this before you get in there? So, Mike, I know this is on everyone's minds at the moment. I've just been at the Wow bench press results this year, and it came up like, how do agencies need to move? How are procurement buying? So I think it's really apt that the timing is now for you being on here. So
Brilliant. Thank you.
again, once again, great to have you on. So yeah, Mike, sorry, you've been in procurement long enough to know, what do they actually think about agencies? Not what they're saying in that pitch meeting. When you're in the meeting, they can be
Yeah.
saying all sorts of things, but what do they actually think? What's their actual feeling when they're having those meetings with the agency? So let's start there. Really, we're in 2026 now, and it's there's a few things going on the table, and really AI, sorry, is one of the things that's really driving this. Okay,
Yeah.
we've got the AI that agencies have using, but we've also noticed, especially around executionable type work, that AI is having a driver into in-house teams, bringing work back into their own businesses. Yeah.
Exactly right.
So with that in mind, AI, more stuff being bought in-house. In your experience, with your knowledge, are agency models, are they economically viable today from a client's mix? What does
Yeah.
this look like? We've got those things going on. How are clients looking at it? Are these the right solutions still for businesses?
So I've probably got, as you know, Jay. In fact, we met after I'd written an in-depth agency reset report, which was all about kind of a 47-page report, all about where I think the marketing agency world is going. And that was based upon a whole number of very, very well-researched papers, my own thinking, and I aggregated it together and put some thinking together. I've had over 250 requests for that report. Now, that's not me blowing my trumpet. That's because you're right. Right now, everyone's thinking about what impact does AI have on the agency world. So the first thing is, the world. This isn't chicken licking. The world isn't falling in. The sky's not going to drop tomorrow. However, in the past, I've been around long enough to know that there's a pendulum that swings in housing and agency.
Yeah.
And it often follows kind of economic cycles. And it used to swing every like 7 to 10 years, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah? You must
I
have
think
been there,
I've been
Jay.
through three of those now, so I'm
There you are.
24 years in, so that would be about right.
That'd be about right, wouldn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The pendulum's not swinging back.
Okay.
Really important. I believe. Now, these are my opinions. Yeah? If I obviously had a crystal ball that could
Yep.
give certainty, we'd all be very rich people. My view is AI as an enabling technology has fundamentally changed the way that marketing will be run and delivered inside brands. Fundamentally. So that pendulum of in-housing, 85% of brands that were surveyed recently were saying, and that's by a very big, I forgot what the source was now, it's in my notes, 85% of in-housed in one way, shape or form. They've all got some kind of in-housing capability. But that's not going to go down to like 25%.
Okay.
It just isn't. And the reason is, as a procurement person, yeah, if I was in the markets now on the buy side, what conversations would I be having with our CFO and our CEO? Say we're a 500 million pound turnover company, yeah, and say we spend, I don't know, pick a number, 30 million on marketing. Say,
Yep.
the conversation I'd be having with my CMO and my CFO would be, we need to re-engineer the marketing ecosystem. And they're not fancy words. The ecosystem is the collection of things that we buy or we own or we rent that allow us to deliver better marketing outcomes, better sales outcomes, better profitability for our business.
Yep.
Because just bolting AI onto the existing model is a really bad idea.
Yep.
So the brands And this isn't all. As I said, the sky's not falling in, but there's a pattern emerging. They're
Okay.
starting to think, well, what's the mix of in-house people, agentic AI solutions, orchestration layers that stitch all that together, the MarTech stack, the traditional MarTech stack that you know well,
Yep.
and third-party providers that we used to call agencies. And I say that because I think what does the word agency mean, Jay? So I looked it up the other day. I went, oh, well, what does agency really mean? Well, it means we have choice. We have
Yep.
freedom to make a choice. I think that's it's an odd word to call a business that supports another business to deliver growth. So the agencies as we see them today, they have to be growth enablers. So where that takes you as a procurement person is, there's two things here, Jay, which I think is interesting. I'd like to get your view on this.
Yeah, go on.
So, what does that mean? Well, I want to buy outcomes.
Yep.
I've always really wanted to buy outcomes. It's just really hard when I'm buying marketing agencies because you can't say to an agency, well, you deliver some work and my sales will grow. There's no direct correlation, but there
Correct.
is a correlation. Yeah. There is no doubt there is a correlation between I spend money with an agency, I should get better outcomes, more growth. So I'd like to buy outcomes, but that's got risk. I want to buy outputs. I'm almost certainly going to buy outputs, blocks of work, move away from retainers into sprints, projects, call them what you will, blocks of work that enable me to deliver that growth. However, if I was in procurement now and I had 10 agencies that were on time and materials basis, the irony is I'd be going, okay, so I reckon half your work's done by AI. Don't change your business model. I just want it cheaper. I just want it half the price. Agency would say, no, it's not half of it's not done by AI at all. I'm like, yeah, you say that, but I don't know. And actually, frankly, I don't really care.
Yeah,
You should be doing a lot of it with AI. So we're just going to reset the base. And we end up with a negotiated agreement at 30% off this year. And then next year I'll come back for another 20%. Staying on the same model actually plays into procurement's hands.
So staying on this time and materials model is playing into, 100%.
Because it's logical, isn't it, Jay? If you were a buyer, you'd go, right, so you've shown me how brilliant you are with AI, and you've shown me how efficient you are with AI, because you're really proud of that, and I'm very pleased you've done it. You're more reliable, you can act with more speed, and it's high quality. That's great. Now I want to claim all that value off you that you've just invested, because I think, well, it's not taking you 100 hours now, it's taking you 30 hours. So I'll pay for 30 hours. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. So if we're not careful, we're creating a race to the bottom.
Yeah, we're going to wipe out the industry. And we won't win either, by the way. So the second bounce, I like to think about the second bounce of the ball. What happens next?
Yeah.
Take that scenario. Fees get crushed. Peter's data, I think he was also looking at.
He was.
The gross margins have declined. His data's really, really good. That WOW report, the WOW surveys they do, fantastic. That's going to mean fees get compressed dramatically. And as the work that they are doing still on time and materials gets eaten by this AI monster that's coming along, and it's eating all the old T&M work, the big players and new platforms are going to come in and go, yeah, so what's left we can do anyway. The space to move into, if I was a buyer, I've got this thing, Jay, about this 2 or 3 layer model.
Yep.
As a buyer, and I think it's evolved from a 2-layer model in the report to a 3-layer model. I think there's 3 layers. There's high judgment, high craft, based on experience. The stuff that you and me would talk about going, yeah, I've used Claude and I've used ChatGPT and I've got some great insights. But Jay, what's your experience? How does it really work? What have I missed? That's a human connection. Or if it's on creative, it's that imagination, the breakthrough creatives that really make a difference. I really want that.
I think you used a great analogy at the talk. Was it around the plane?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where share that 'cause that really resonated
Yeah.
with me.
So imagine, Jay, we've decided that we're going to go on holiday together, and we're going to
Yep.
go and listen to music in Ibiza for a
When
week.
when are we going?
Oh, exactly. It's all tribute bands.
Yeah.
So we're going to get on a plane and we're going to fly to Ibiza and we're going to have a nice time. When we book our flight, we don't say, now then, when was the engine last serviced? Could you show me the maintenance records? And which version of the plane is it? Because I believe version 24 had a problem with its right engine. You'd never do that. When you're buying agency services, the engine should just work. You expect the engine to do what it says it will do. That's not where all the value is. The cockpit, which is where the pilot sits and where the cabin crew are, that excellent service, the reliability, the quality of the experience, the judgment of the pilot knowing how to redirect if we face a storm, all that stuff is what I want. If you look at the Verity RI report, which again was very good, and this was really shocking, Jay. So for anyone listening that's an agency leader, look at the Verity RI report, which was a survey of a lot of marketeers inside brands. The work is rated 30th in importance by a client. And that sounds bonkers. You're like, well, but you're buying the work. Yeah, if I'm a procurement person, I expect the work to be excellent. That's why we pay you. That's why I pay you as an agency. That's not why I keep you. I keep you because you've got brilliant business insights. You know my sector better than me. You're a great sounding board for me. You do what you say you do when you say you'll do it. The team below you, as the account lead, as the account director, is a brilliant, cohesive team. It's joined up. You're more joined up than my internal people. That's what I want. So when you look at the insights from that report, you look at the report I've done, and you look at where agencies need to go, I'm not saying tomorrow morning, but as a buyer, I'd be applying lots of pressure on T&M contracts, and that's to the detriment of the agencies. And I'd be asking innovative agencies to come in and go, look, we spend 30 million a year on marketing across our in-house people, media, social, influence, all of them, a whole mix. How do I re-engineer that? How do I redesign it to give me more reliable outcomes, better outcomes in a more coherent way? Help me redesign my environment. Me, the CMO, the CFO, and the agency leader, if you've got those consultancy skills to engage at that level and help me re-engineer and be able to track better the ROI, the marketing ROI, we invest 30 million, we'd expect, 200 million of uplift in sales.
Yeah.
Tell me how I can get that with lower risk.
Okay.
And you will always be my agency. Am I ranting, Jay?
No, it's all sounding like, I think agencies have been having this conversation with themselves for a long time, Mike.
They have.
Right. So I've heard this for at least 15 years.
Exactly.
Value-based pricing.
So why hasn't it changed, Jay?
So I've got and actually the WOW company, Rory Spence made a good thing. It shouldn't be called value-based pricing. It should be called value-based selling.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. I think there's a few reasons why it hasn't changed. One of the reasons, a big reason, I think, agencies don't invest really in themselves or their teams to work out how to do that properly.
Agreed.
I think that's a huge thing.
Yep.
I've seen people go, right, we're moving to this model. But when I speak about, okay, how are you approaching that model?
Yeah.
What do your team know how to have that conversation with a buyer? Because it's a very different conversation.
Completely.
They're not being given those skills, they're not being mentored or coached to do that. So I think that's one of the first things.
Yeah.
I think there's also this fear that if I'm agency X and you're agency Y, and I go to procurement and I've not done this well, and I'm trying to convince you on a value-based selling method, and procurement aren't on that line, they don't really understand it. Then agency X go, our rates are £100 an hour. You can understand that and go, right, we'll go with agency
Yeah.
X. So
So
I've
on that, oh,
swept that in there.
let's dig into that one, Jay.
Come on, let's dig in. I love this.
So I look back, and I've talked to other procurement people as well. I cannot think of a time I've ever bought the lowest price. However, what you may get told as an agency is you weren't the cheapest. So we went with someone that was cheaper. You lost on price. They never lost on price. Take an example. You can spend 100 grand with us as an agency, and you might get between 500k and £1 million of sales uplift, but I'm not really quite sure, and the evidence isn't really very concrete, and we haven't got all the levers to pull, and well, I switched off about 30 seconds ago. Another agency comes in, and they say, ours is 150k. However, all of our data tells us your range of sales outcomes across all channels, because we'll do the channel marketing mix and asset allocation, capital allocation model with you. We reckon that's going to be between 1.2 and 1.4 million. We can tell you that because we run all the numbers, we've got the models, we do test and learn, it's rapid test and learn. We use AI. Now I'm like, well, Jay seems to know what he's talking about. That's a value conversation.
Yeah.
Now, I might say to you, you're a bit expensive, actually, Jay, to be honest. And you'd read that as being, wow, someone came in cheaper. No, someone didn't come in cheaper. They came in with a better value story. And it wasn't BS. They knew what they were doing. They knew what the value buckets were. They could describe it to me. We even got into the pricing model of, in year one, we don't know you, Jay. But, so in year one, okay, we might go for a fixed fee, yeah? Deliverables based, fixed fee with setup. In year two, assuming it's all gone well, then what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the fixed fee down to like 75%. We're going to give you a bonus. And the bonus is paid based upon our sales outcomes. We're going to cap the bonus because I can't have an unlimited upside, yeah, for you, because my CFO won't sign that off.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a mixed model of deliverables based with bonus. And you probably go at that point, that's fair. Okay. I've got agencies that do it. I've worked with agencies where, because people are going, it'll never work. One of my agency clients with very big brands has got precisely that model. They've been with them for well over 6 years.
And how when you're working with agency, I think a lot of agencies would love to get to that point where they're saying, okay, we'll back, because basically what you're saying here is we'll back ourselves, right? But we'll back ourselves, and there's actually limited risk then for the client, isn't there? If you're delivering the great result, why would you not share
Exactly.
that? So how have you helped agency leaders change that mindset? Because I think that's the first thing, changing that mindset. That for me is a huge thing. And because the agency model has been as it's been for what, 80 years?
Yeah, since the 1950s. Yep.
Yeah. So how do you change that agency leaders model that's probably come through the agency, grow through our AD, then to a leader? No, that's how we do it. How do we change that mindset? And then how do you go about really making sure that's filtered through the whole business of this is how we operate? Is there a secret sauce, Michael? Or is he just getting on and doing it?
No, I think there is a bit of a secret sauce, and I think you start with. So I'm thinking very practically about what I've done with other clients. You start with, what does value mean to the client? What's the ultimate value that the client is trying to create? So that might be, it could be a brand awareness program. Okay. or it could be a sales uplift program. It could be tactical. It could be more long-term brand related. It could be a mix. It's normally a mix. It's quite rare now that people are just doing pure brand versus performance. So you start with, what does value mean to the client? And then what you say is, okay, well, there's a top line value, kind of economic. And then you start to drill down into, well, what are the subcomponents of that value? Yes, there's economic sales value, but there's capability, there's longevity. So, for example, a master brand that you create, that might go on for years. Yeah. That might have, what's the watch? Patek Philippe. I spoke to the guy. Yeah, I spoke to the guy.
You're only holding it for the next generation, I think's their tagline.
I met the guy who wrote that tagline. He said that was done, I think, 20 odd years ago. That's still there. So there's value in
that. That is actually still the line they use, isn't it? Even now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How do you put a value on that?
So you've got to work out, well, what's the value? Well, you go, you can't work out the value. Well, you could put proxies in place. I think a lot of the time, and this is human nature, not just agencies, is it's easy for us to say, that wouldn't work. Yeah, we tried that.
Yeah.
And if you're a very senior person, and this goes back to the culture, Jay, if you're the CEO or one of the board members and you say to your team, that wouldn't work, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to keep doing the same things. Like, all right, boss, no problem. I won't give you my creative thinking. So the first thing is, what does value mean to the client? What are the buckets of value? Then you work out as an agency, well, how do I tell a story about how you create those buckets of value? And how correlated is my activity to those buckets of value? So you're building a story here, which is, I was taught by McKinsey many, many years ago as a consultant, which I was very fortunate on the client side. The waterfall diagram. You build a waterfall diagram of value, and they're in buckets. And then you explain the buckets, and you explain how you deliver those buckets, and you explain how you manage the risk of not achieving the ideal in each of those buckets. Does that make sense? Because it's all risk. An investment has a risk. Well, I expect you as the agency to know where the risk is and how to manage the risk.
Yeah.
You have that conversation with the client. Now you've got a different conversation. And if a client says, I just want to buy time and materials, my view would be to say to them, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe we're not the right agency for you.
There's a training thing that I've been through many years ago, and I remember it really sticks with me, and I use it all the time. Their decision, our process.
Right.
So that's what this is our process, but it's your decision.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
Yeah. If you want to work in a way that doesn't fit our process, you're probably not right for us in the first place.
Exactly right.
Mike, can you believe it's 9:57?
I know, I just looked at the clock and we've got 3 minutes, Jay.
Listen, I forgot to say at the beginning, we don't normally have time for questions, but if you want to reach out to me or Mike, we'll try to get them answered. One's just come in, but I think it might be worth just spending the last minute on it. So it was from Tom G. It's the first time I've done this on one of these calls, but it feels quite interesting. Quite good. Yeah. So he basically said, if an agency spends on investing in AI and therefore their hours and jobs have halved across the board, as there is all that extra time, would you not take on more clients to fill that time? So if clients say it's taking half the time for better work, can you negotiate a discount, but now pay more per hour for work overall, so you get more clients, pay more per hour? So overall, when full capacity, you're doing more work, but better work and for a higher price, technically cheaper for the client, has less time, but slightly more per hour. Is that a bad frame of mind? I think, Tom, for me, looking at that, you can end up in a situation where rather than having 15 clients. So for me, if you're trying to ever exit your agency, getting to a point where probably 15 clients are bringing in all your revenue is a good place to be, because your efficiency of managing them, it drives your earnings per head, all of these things. In that model there, personally, Tom, I think you'd end up with lots of clients, potentially, if you can get them on board, which means you won't be able to manage the revenue as efficiently. So things like your capacity, your volume in like your account management team or whatever would need to increase to be manage them, or you're using like AI, which then might take you away from your values as a business. So personally for me, I think having lower rates, more capacity, getting more clients probably would equal a race to the bottom as well.
It does, correct. And also, on that point, if you compress rate, if you put rates down to get more clients by using AI, what you're saying to me as a buyer is it's a commodity.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is you're resetting the market benchmark. It's a commodity. I'll probably go out and buy a platform to do this. Like, if anyone's people that are listening, look at the Mega announcement. So Mega, MEGA, they raised $11.5 million with some very serious investors, Series A. It's a marketing orchestration platform for small, medium-sized businesses in the US that does media execution, it does test and learn, it does SEO, GEO. Now, will it all be as efficient as it says it is and as brilliant as it says it is for $1,000 a month? Probably not. But it's the wedge into the traditional agency world.
Tom, thanks for that. Tom just said, Mike, champion. That makes perfect sense. And
Brilliant.
everyone using the word champion, I love.
I love champion. Yeah.
Yeah, good, great point on that. That mega thing, I think I'd seen that as well.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's 10 o'clock. I've got so much more still to
Been
actually.
brilliant,
I feel like I might say, look, should we get a day and invite some people and we'll just do a round table with
Yeah, exactly.
with Mike in London or something? Because I think we could speak for another 1 or 2 hours on this. Mike, really appreciate giving you time today, and I think people who've watched this or been listening to this have taken away a lot of valuable stuff. I always ask our guest if there was like one bit of advice you would give people now. What would it be?
If you've got clients where procurement are involved, you've got to get ahead of the curve. You need to engage me 18 months ahead of when a big opportunity comes up. Because you've got to educate me about the value and you've got to build a relationship with me in a compliant way. So when the RFP comes out, your fingerprints are all over my RFP. Your win rate, final point. If you do that, win rates are over 70%.
Right.
If you fail to do that and you receive an RFP and just bid for it, win rates are about 5%.